Uh, uh,
I get up and I walk across the room. I get to the door, I've been there before, wondering what I got up for. When all of a sudden I remember what I was gonna say to you. Standing there watching my member, hanging there squirting the loo. Hanging there squirting the loo. Hanging there squirting my shoe.
still standing here squirting my bloody shoe.
I'm really stoned, permanently out my phone. I'm really stoned. I get down on the phone, I get the urge to dump yesterday, flush it away. I hope the force is still with me. When sure enough the door flies off its hinges, and there stands PC Village and ticket, saying I've got trouble finding where I'm going, 'cause my backside is very badly lit. Hello, hello, hello. My backside is very badly lit. My bloody head no longer seems to fit. Hello? You're under arrest and... Hello? I'm really stoned, permanently out my phone. I'm really stoned.
There is this ridiculous notion, still upheld by many people today, that the best way you can spot a 70s rock star is not by the hair, it's not by the cut of the trousers. It's by the fact that a 70s rock star goes on a regular basis off to the country to get his head together. And I used to think, well, that's ludicrous. I mean, obviously, they're often some steamy, ultra-tech, absorbing, contemporary sounds, but I'm prepared to admit that I've been proved wrong. Because if you come to a place like this marvellous view behind me, scarcely any trace of human life, and you listen carefully enough on a clear day, you can, sure enough, hear the sound of two distant acoustic guitars.
That you have found me a brand new lock. And you try to warn me that there's only one combination. The one you say, the same old rock.
Oi!
Oi! Who's that over there?
Well, as I was saying,
That
here we
is
are,
them.
perfectly normal, pastoral setting, really. Panoramic view with lake over there, the odd little humble stone cottage, dotted among the fir trees, a few wild birds,
Not bad
rare
for a studio
species
set,
of
is
wild orchid, and 70s rock stars sitting on stones strumming guitars. 70s.
80s,
Now,
90s.
it is, in fact, the latter that we're here to investigate.
Well, the 90s.
No, the 70s rock
91.
stars sitting on stones. Now, Roy, I know this seems a very obvious question, but we are sort of 2,000 feet up here in, where are we?
I
Somewhere...
thought you were going to say we're 2,000 years old.
Oh, we are.
This is true.
Where actually
very
are
true.
we? Which we're in the lakes, aren't we?
Yeah, we're actually just on the border of Langdale. just where Langdale crosses into Blee Tarn. It's like no man's land, this, really.
But you've dragged Jimmy along here for a bit of fell walking and things. Now,
What?
Funnily enough, I'd never imagined the two of you to fell. Have you actually done any fell
No,
walking?
it's the first part, but carry on.
He's a chain smoker, you see, so he cannot get to the top of, you know, this piece of rock here without actually the bronchitis.
You see, what surprises me about the whole thing is that neither of the two of you seem to be the most kind of, I don't know, I never imagined you'd be that sort of...
Athletic.
Athletic. Prime physical fitness would hardly be the first.
No, well, we were both born on the wrong side of the athletic line for that. I mean, you know...
Now, Roy, how would you describe yourself? Someone who didn't know much about you and your music.
How would you?
Hey, how would I?
Yeah.
Craftsmanship.
Who, Roy?
And poetry. Yeah.
How,
And philosophy. Yeah.
How come you two are working together then?
When
did you first meet? Tell me when you first met.
Actually, I started in, I mean, I appreciate that you're trying to go faster than I'd like to go, Mark, but let me try and answer that question. I started middle 60s-ish, and I tried at the time to do something that I've been trying to do ever since and was trying to do a long time before that, which was to be a poet. And I eventually combined the two things, the writing with the very naive guitar playing at the time as it was, and ended up within a very few years, a very short time, producing enough material to actually influence quite a lot of people who were coming up along behind me.
Who did you influence then? What sort of people?
Well, I don't really know, and I wouldn't like to really say. There are many people that would admit to being influenced by yours truly, but I'm not going to say who.
See, there was a time, though, Roy, in the mid-70s when it looked like you threatened to be enormously successful, and for some reason this success eluded you. Why do you think that was?
My own idiosyncratic behaviour precludes me from international stardom, as it were. Because all of a sudden I'd take a bend in the road and I go a different way. I know, I'm a sparrow in the gutter, really. I'm always going to be able to earn a living at what I do, so that it's not really imperative that I become a multimillionaire.
What is it, Jimmy, then, that you've liked about this man? Because, I mean, we've seen very little of you for 5 years. What is it that's about this particular partnership that's...
With Roy?
Yeah, that's sort of, you know, this is the first thing you've actually done, really, isn't it?
It's really enjoyable every time I've ever done it, you know? Right from the same old rock that we first recorded, the two of us. Onwards, you know. And we've done a lot of stuff ever since as well, you know. It's always been...
You haven't been playing much, though, have you, in the last 5 years? I mean,
No.
what sort of motivation have you now to actually go out and perform or play at all?
Because I'm such a masochist, I'm trying to get as good as I was before I stopped.
Are you not as good now, then?
No, I'm better.
You're better?
Yeah. I'm actually working at it now, which I didn't then. Yeah. I mean, I didn't play guitar, I didn't touch a guitar for 18 months at one point.
Why not? You just fed up the whole thing?
I just had no, there was no sort of impetus.
I think
to
people have
pick it
periods
up.
of transition anyway.
And that's quite serious. I didn't touch one for 18 months. And then when I did pick it back up again, I mean, I wanted to, but I was afraid of looking at it. But when I did pick it up, I couldn't even change chords properly, so I've been sort of, you know, moving. I
may be totally wrong, but I've always got the impression with you that you were probably best at helping other people interpret their kinds of music. I mean, you started out as a session man. You worked with the Kinks, I believe, didn't you? You turned down a job in the Yardbirds. You eventually finished
to begin with.
To begin with.
Yeah.
But you finished up in Led Zeppelin, and did you feel that towards the end of that you were getting away from what you wanted to do?
No, because that was such a fantastic unit, you know.
Which do you think was the best period then, of Led Zeppelin?
It was always the next project on. You never knew what was around the corner. It was always different. I mean, the albums, you know, to some people might all sound the same, but
there wasn't the best moment or anything.
Of course there were milestones. I don't think there was best moments, because it was always that ever onward, you know.
Yeah, he's right. The best bit was always going to be the next.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
unless you think that.
Really
and
unfortunate.
if you know that, then you're very fortunate to know that, and we did know that.
So people tend to think in hindsight that the latter period of Led Zeppelin was one where it all became a bit excessive and a bit overblown. I wondered if it had strayed.
It needed a bit
It needed
of
a
rest,
tour.
perhaps.
Well, it needed a tour, really, which is
Yeah.
what it was just about to go on to. But I mean,
But it would have been all right in another
Sure it
few
would.
months. It
Sure
would have
it
been.
would. It was always
something
changing.
different altogether.
Yeah.
It was just very unfortunate that Bonzo happened to have the accident that he did at the time.
What kind of music are you making together at the moment, the two of you? How would you describe it?
I think that what I'd really like to do in this day and age right now would be to create something which was more live and more human and more down to earth than has been seen for the last 6 or 7 years.
Right.
You know, something that we can actually, that's why I wanted to come here right now, was to sort of create something which anybody can do. Out in, you know, you just sit down with 2 guitars and do it, you know. You don't need Bannock Goes to Frankie Byrne.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's still verses and choruses like it was in 1960.
Yeah.
And with all the technology they've
What
got, and all the
particular
outspoken
things?
statements they make, I think they would come up with something special.
Which particular groups are you talking about?
Any of them, they all sound the same to me.
All of them?
Yeah, they just got different singers. And the singers, you know,
Give me-
if you
give me
want to
some
listen
example-
to it,
give me some
you
example.
can differentiate.
Well, Bannock Goes to Frankie
They all
Byrne.
sound the bloody same, you know. They've all got computers. You know, why don't they come out, you know, with their batteries?
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
do you think
what
there's
I'm
something
saying
wrong
is,
with that
I'll tell
kind
you
of-
what I'm
yeah.
saying is this. That they, you know, they had a field day because it was quite fashionable to knock bands that really worked on their instruments, you know.
Yeah, it's
as a craft, okay, and that's all it is, because you're nothing more than that, you know, just a craftsman. But the fact is that when it comes down to it, what are they doing? Verses and choruses. Well, that's the same as Herman's Hermits, as far as I'm concerned. And the pop charts at the moment sound like that to me.
Jimmy, I've heard this rumour that you're forming some kind of group and intending to go out and play again.
Yeah, we're doing verses and choruses.
Verses and choruses, and no computers.
Yes, we've got computers.
You have. Who's in the group then?
Hey, me?
Who's in, apart from you?
Oh, you really want to know?
Yes,
oh,
I do. Yeah.
Come on, be fair, Mark. I mean, come on.
Apart from you.
Mark, it's not fair.
Mark!
Apart from you and Paul Rogers, for example,
Yeah,
who's in it as well.
yeah.
What are you called?
We haven't got a name.
Don't give
that's
too
the
much
truth.
away, will you?
No, we haven't got a name. We haven't got a name. I can't give
This
much
is
away because
hard
I don't know.
investigative journalism here.
All
You
I
haven't
know
got a
is we've
name,
been
it's just-
rehearsing for 10 days and we got about 60 minutes.
I heard
to
you call them
record it,
McGregors,
that's
you
about it.
see.
Well, that's the outlaw clan, you know. But it's just a silly name.
For the benefit of Bannock Goes to Frankie Byrne. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly
We'll have a
right.
few more verses and choruses from you, and I shall leave you to it.
Thank
Oh,
you,
God,
Mark.
Don't get exhausted on the walk
You'd
back.
have to get a picture of Doris after this. Otherwise, it ain't
All
gonna
right,
be...
where are we going from then?
Last night I wasn't sleeping. I knew it was my last. I'd just been lying thinking, reliving all my past. My family and friends have left. My children are all lost. Now I'm standing on a gallows. The sands of time fall fast. My poor heart, it is thumping. My head is fit to fly. To feel that rope around my neck. No, it's there for good. I know that I am innocent. No one's understood. Now I'm standing on a gallows to be murdered in cold blood.